We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insight, new style, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Monday, March 17th here in Seoul. I am Song Yujin, and thanks for starting off your week with News Generation. Joining us today is Ki Kim.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Yes.
And Grace Park.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. As many of our viewers may know, we start every week by exploring topics that directly impact the younger generation. And one issue that is consistently grabbing attention is employment. And earlier this year on NewsGen, we discussed how job-seeking trends among young people are shifting. So previously, many were willing to remain unemployed until they found a job that truly aligned with their interests and expectations. But now, with the economic downturn and fewer job openings, we're seeing a growing number of young job seekers take any opportunity they can find. And even after securing a job, many worry about how long they'll be able to keep it, a concern that's commonly known as job insecurity. So starting off, can you relate to these concerns as someone who is working right now?
Yes, but being employed for me is a relatively new term in my dictionary because I've been freelancing my entire career. I never had what they call a proper job. So of course, I'm concerned about my next move, literally how I would make a living every second. Being a freelancer might sound fancy. It sounds like I get to choose what I want whenever I want, but it's another term for work slave because you do have to do whenever there's a chance. So I've been mostly engaged in the field of entertainment and education. Both are fiercely competitive and it's constantly a changing industry, so you never know when you lose the job. And you have to constantly be moving to catch up the trend, learn new things, and so on. Also, there's fear about what I'm going to do, let's say when I turn 50, because life expectancy in these occupations and these fields is pretty short. So that's why I try to run my own company that's somewhat relevant to my career. And also, can last longer, something that can revolve longer and a bit more stable. But given my sort of a workaholic personality, I don't think I'd be quitting working till I get buried 6 feet under.
So you are feeling a sense of job insecurity, but you are navigating through the way so that you can create the most stable environment that you can make as possible,
For sure.
right?
Yep.
Okay, then what about you, Grace?
Yeah, I try not to think about work so much, but I end up thinking about work all the time because naturally that's how I make a living. These days, now that the life expectancy is increasing, I think about what I would do once I reach age 60 and it's time for me to retire. I feel like honestly 60 is still so young these days, and just looking at my parents who are in their 60s and 70s, I still feel like they're younger than I would have thought the 60s and 70s would have been like maybe 10 or 20 years ago.
They don't really seem old.
Yeah, they don't seem
They're
like
very young.
grandmas and grandpas like I used to think that 60s and 70s would look like. So, I'm realizing that people are still actively living out their lives well beyond the traditional working age, which is posing lots of changes in the labor force dynamics. And a part of me thinks that the retirement age will end up being extended just because of population aging. But at the same time, we do need more opportunities for the younger generation too. So it is a complicated issue. And I'm also seeing the real effects of artificial intelligence taking over our jobs. And since I do a lot of writing and sometimes translating for my work, it's kind of scary how well AI is able to do those tasks in such a short period of time. So of course, AI is making our lives easier, but at the same time, I'm concerned about the AI takeover in terms of jobs.
Right, so the poor economic climate as well as the rapid advancement of technology kind of makes us feel that our job security is being threatened, right? So we're now going to take a closer look at actual numbers. I want to ask you, Ki, do statistics support that these growing concerns about employment and job security are valid?
Well, the statistics are now not necessarily supported for those young generations. If you take a screen right now, involuntary unemployed people have surpassed 1.37 million last year. And if you take a look at the screen, surveying employment trend last year conducted by Statistics Korea shows basically 4 out of 10 retirees were in involuntary unemployment status. And this is about increase of 100,000 year on year, resulting from an unwanted retirement plan owing to shutting down the business, layoffs, sluggish business, and more. And another survey showed that the reasons for feeling job insecurity for those who are currently employed were inflation, economic downturn, poor company performance, frequent resignation of fellow employees, getting old, and current employment can't easily be replaceable with someone else. In particular, women had greater job insecurity than men, and non-regular workers, of course, were higher than regular workers.
I see. So Key kind of gave us a big snapshot of how much people are feeling insecure about their jobs here in Korea. But Grace, I want to specifically ask you how this is impacting the younger generation.
Yeah, it seems like the bigger issue is that the younger generation is facing a difficult job market than ever before. According to the January 2025 employment trends by Statistics Korea, youth employment in particular saw the steepest decline. The number of employed individuals aged 15 to 29 dropped by 218,000 from a year earlier, marking the largest decrease since January 2021. We also saw growing unemployment among those with high levels of education, with around half of PhD holders under the age of 30 without jobs. And such trends can be attributed to economic uncertainty and a shift towards companies hiring more experienced workers who can perform work tasks as soon as they're hired, since companies are also struggling amid the economic downturn.
No wonder these young workers are getting worried even more as time goes on. But this is not just an issue that is unique to Korea, because the United States is another country where many young workers fear job instability. So please walk us through what's happening there as well.
Well, in the United States, according to a recent survey by the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia, about 1/3 of the United States workers are concerned about being fired by their employers. Not surprised when you actually see the Musk's action in Trump's administration. In particular, MZ generation's concern about unemployment were the highest in the past 2 years, and the percentage of respondents aged from 18 to 35 who said they were worried about making a living for the next 6 months increased from 36% last year to 40% this year. And young people are worried about not only dismissals from their work, but also their livelihoods. And many of them are started looking for part-time jobs. And even the bank said that retirees started to withdraw some money as they're going through the financial pressures.
Definitely. And you think that we saw these concerns grow even further since U.S. President Donald Trump started his second term in office, right, Grace?
Yeah, some industry insiders are saying that President Donald Trump's tariffs are creating more uncertainties, not only in the global economy, but also within the United States, which affects the labor market and young job seekers there. Also, the Trump administration announced that it is cutting federal jobs. According to Reuters, the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs is planning to cut around 82,000 workers to return to the agency staffing levels in 2019, which was just under 400,000. Furthermore, in the U.S., there's a lot more freedom in terms of changing careers and more opportunities to earn higher salaries. But at the same time, this also means that competition is fierce and that being laid off is a lot easier. Labor laws aren't as strict as they are here in Korea, so it's not uncommon for workers in the U.S. to walk into work one day, get a phone call saying that they're dismissed from their positions and that today is their last day of work.
And President Trump, I want to point out that he mentioned that there may be some pain in the short run, but this is all for making the American economy great again. So we'll have to see how these policies will play out. So we're now going to take the time to listen to our viewers. We also asked them if they feel job insecurity and whether they are preparing a plan B in case they face unexpected layoffs. And here's what 3 of our viewers shared. Our first comment for this Monday is by Alan QW5IM. With the rise of generative AI in the tech sector, job uncertainty is definitely increasing. Benny D97 says, I experienced job instability in my previous work because there were problems between clients. I was already prepared for uncertainty and had a plan for my next steps. Our final comment for this Monday is by DSG1010. Companies have long preferred hiring contract or part-time workers instead of permanent employees to reduce costs. Even though I have a job now, I don't feel very secure, so I invest that I always look for new opportunities. So, based on the comments from our viewers, we can see that job uncertainty is definitely lingering among young people around the world. So, as we just touched on the situation in the United States, after the break, we'll connect with an American Gen Z to hear her thoughts.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Welcome back. Joining us this Monday is Erin Tiedman, an American Gen Z. She joins us from New York. Welcome back to the show, Erin.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So, Erin, we would first like to ask you the most basic question. Are you currently employed? And if so, do you feel a sense of job insecurity too?
Yes, I am currently employed, but my position is currently contract-based, and I do feel a high level of job insecurity, I would say. I'm working in an office job that is in an industry that's actually not related to what I went to school for, which is quite common here, I would say. And I'm currently looking for work in the industry I studied. However, that industry is international development, and with the current administration here in the US, has been completely overturned, I would say, and upended in the past couple of months. So there's a high level of job insecurity in that sector, along with a lot of government positions. And there are also other factors at play here, such as the current state of the economy and the rise of AI. So I would say that all of that kind of adds to this feeling of insecurity, no matter what sector you work in.
Thank you, Erin, for sharing your insights and your stories. So from your perspective, I guess you sort of mentioned, but is job security a growing concern among your generation in the United States?
Yeah, I would definitely say job insecurity is a big issue here. I find that entry level and early career positions are incredibly competitive. Many of these positions have a very low pay and there's limited benefits. And such as my position, a lot of them are contract based to kind of save companies money. I would say also the economic fluctuations here, budget cuts, organizations are constantly also shifting priorities, which also adds to job uncertainty. And I have a lot of friends who are working in the States and they're around my age and they have either been laid off in the past couple of years or demoted just due to budget cuts and shifting priorities, like I mentioned. So yeah, it's been a big issue here. And to make matters worse, I also think that the job search here in the States has been incredibly frustrating for so many young people. The process is heavily automated, and there's no guarantee that your resume will even be seen by a person. AI has been a huge factor in the job search. And so it's definitely been, I think, a rising concern of young people here.
Then, Erin, what do you think are some effective ways to manage or reduce this sort of job-related anxiety?
To reduce anxiety, I think many people have been trying to save money for an emergency fund in case they are laid off. That's something that I'm currently trying to do. But of course, because cost of living is so high and constantly rising, I think that's very difficult to do, especially if you are working a low-paying entry-level job. I think also it's important to kind of remain flexible and continue to train and learn new skills in the event that you maybe are laid off or have to kind of shift to a different sector. I also have some friends who work side jobs, kind of a side hustle. So they have this extra stream of income to relieve some stress and kind of ease some of that uncertainty that they might have. And then, of course, also just trying to work on your own mental health and go to therapy and I've recently been trying to understand that there are some things that I can't control and to kind of focus on the things that I can control. Yeah.
So very good advice. Erin, I want to ask you one more thing. You mentioned how some of your friends are trying to hone in new skills and also that they are having side jobs. Is this something that you are also doing, or are they some solutions that you are willing to try out?
It's definitely something I've been considering trying out. Right now, I'm currently volunteering to kind of boost my resume. So I've been volunteering with a professor that I went to school with and doing research on the side. So that is not really a stream of income, but it is something that I can kind of add to my toolbox of things. Yeah.
All right, Erin Heatman, an American Gen Z, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so looking ahead, I want to ask you, what kind of social safety nets or measures do you think will help alleviate this growing job insecurity, especially shared among our generation?
Well, I honestly believe we need to change our perception on the job. Getting into a big name course would be great. But also there are other jobs available. Job markets are very much polarized as well nowadays. People flocking for the big names, whereas the small and mid-sized companies find it hard to find the right employees. The government is supporting these mid-sized companies, yet if you take a look at the management side, it's quite doubtful if those policies or measurements that the government has taken are sustainable. Also, there is a question about non-regular workers as well. In many occasions, the work they have done as non-regular workers or as a freelancer are not being recognized as what they call official career, though there are still work experiences. So, and if you take a look at it for the long run, our economy has to be stabilized.
Right.
There are so many factors nowadays that threatens our economy, both domestically and internationally. So we need to calm down, straighten down the economy, and we might have somewhat steady job markets afterward.
Right, because everything starts from a very solid foundation, right?
Exactly.
And Ki, I want to ask you, you mentioned how most people still, they prefer big corporations, but we still have a lot of great small and mid-sized corporations here in Korea and in other parts of the world. What do you think could be the perks of working at a small or mid-sized corporation?
I mean, I've been, well, one of the things that my company does is consulting, right? And I've consulted the big corporates and the small corporates, I mean, the small and mid-sized companies. Actually, working with small and mid-sized companies creates some kind of warmth, and also sometimes they have a more stable conditions, whereas big corporates is very competitive, right? And also, while you are working at mid-sized companies, you can also think of stepping up.
Right.
I'm not saying that the companies has a different size of company, it matters, but also working in a mid-sized company can definitely give you more experience. And also, if you work as a manager level, for example, in mid-sized companies, then that will give you some more necessary tools when you move into a different, maybe say bigger companies. So definitely working mid-sized companies sometimes it can be quite helpful.
So the employees can work together, grow together with the company as well.
Exactly.
And what is your piece of advice, Grace?
It's a difficult issue, and there's definitely a strong responsibility on policymakers to establish more initiatives that are focused on creating more regular, high-quality jobs for the younger generation. They're facing both a harsh labor market and economic situation. So, yeah, and I also want to encourage young job seekers to continue seeking out all kinds of opportunities and build experience so that when the right opportunity comes, you're well equipped to start working right away. And we're learning that more and more companies are looking for experienced workers who can get started working right away. And one piece of practical advice I can share for job seekers here in Korea is that the 2025 Global Talent Fair is going to be held on May 19th through the 20th at COEX, which is located in southern Seoul.
Right.
And the event is designed to support young job seekers to find quality jobs here in Korea and abroad as well as to introduce local job opportunities for foreign students that are studying in Korea. So definitely plan to check that out.
Definitely, you should mark your calendar. So this event is open for all Koreans and also international job seekers.
Exactly, yeah. So they're going to have a bunch of seminars on the job market, on the interview process. I think a lot of the foreign companies that are invested in Korea are going to be there, the HR department. So it's a really good opportunity to meet like the people that are actually going to be hiring.
Right.
So.
Sounds like an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
All right. And that's all we have for NewsGen today, but we will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Ki Kim.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Grace Park.
Thank you.
Thank you. And to our viewers, thank you for watching. And we'll be waiting for you tomorrow morning here at the same time. We are
News Generation.